Hey everyone, welcome to our latest episode of Football is Life. Here we are, we're back, boys. Yeah, it should have been in person, but Waleed was so upset about what's happened in recent events that he couldn't face being in the same room as me, could you? All I can say is the current feeling of Liverpool fans is just, oh yeah, we're coming, baby, we're coming. Here we go. Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. Listen, we've got loads to cover. We will talk about. We have a title race apparently now, right? There's a real title race, not just like maybe a mythical one that's like, too many games in hand. There seems to be a real title race on our hands. Spurs, Pat, I mean, the emotional roller coaster that Antonio Conte is, we're going to have to cover that. And then, things at the bottom of the landscape there, which felt really stale for a long time, where nothing was really moving about. All of a sudden, there's been, everyone kind of knew Burnley, didn't we? The Burnley were going to do something at some point, and they signed I think they signed that guy from Game of Thrones. What's he called? The Mountain. They signed him, and he's just like, he's made a difference. So, anyway, let's get into it, boys. I think we have to start with the title race, right? Wazza, what happened? I mean, Spurs can't beat a bottom four side, but they can do over Super Harry Kane. That's it. You can look at what you could have won. Look at what you could have won. Here we go. You love to see it.
I have a friend of mine who is a Spurs fan, not just Pat. There are actually quite a few of them, and I will say to the pod what I said to him, which is that Pep Guardiola beat City that day. That was all. I say all Pep's doing. Pep just made it much easier for Spurs than he absolutely should have by playing that high line, not putting someone on Kane. Like, you can forgive the way that the few mistakes that happened. I mean, I shared an infographic with both of you, which basically showed that Spurs attacked 3 times and scored in all 3 times, which is, very impressive. Credit to Spurs for finishing their dinner, something that some teams do struggle with. But Pep he did not compromise on his tactics. He played the same game throughout the entire 90 minutes, and he made a mess of it. And yeah, the title race is back on. I mean, obviously both teams have to play absolutely perfectly. City need to get back on it this weekend with a decent run of form. We're at Everton, which I don't know. Is this the match that Everton finally pull their finger out and go, you know what, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you can earn your wages, you can get a transfer this way, or Donny van der Beek, who knows? But Everton is an unknown quantity. They've not played well, but as you can see with Spurs, teams that don't play well can still pull something off miraculous against City.
Wow, listen to that. What do you mean, Pat? And we'll come to Spurs in a minute, and let's just let's live in that moment of the high. Talk us through, Spurs fan, watching that game against City. It was as a neutral fan, well, kind of neutral-ish, obviously. It was a great watch, but yeah, talk me through it, Pat. What was the Spurs
so
game?
We can live in that moment for a minute, but first I want to start living in this moment, and I want to say, Ross, please cheer up a little bit, okay? Like, yeah, are you happy a little bit or what? Come
on. I mean, here's the thing, mate. We don't need Diogo Jota. We don't need Firmino. We've got Diaz. We just got this swagger. Joel Matip's just like a beautiful, majestic gazelle that just gallops through defenses and scores goals. I just love to see it. Look, last night was I feel like a real statement win to put a lot of pressure on City. It's gonna be interesting. Like, the run-ins are, Liverpool's is probably a shade harder on paper, but they're not massively different. Like, a lot of the really tough fixtures are out the way. But yeah, I mean, it's you know what a time to be alive. Just great to see this title race. Great time to be alive. You love to see Pep. They always played well, of course. They played well. Rodri had a nightmare against Tottenham. Couldn't screen a pass to Harry Kane if his life depended on it. Which, again, things I did enjoy. I mean, Kane looked. I mean, Harry, where have you been all year? Like.
Well, Lee, I was only just trying to give him a hard time, a little bit of spice, and he took the microphone and jumped on it for another 3 minutes. Liverpool.
Not like me. Look, not like
me. No. I think it was an amazing time to be alive if you're a Liverpool fan, for sure. If you spin it back, maybe 3 or 4 pods before, we were talking about, is there still a race at all, and kind of starting to kick some dirt on the whole Premier League. But look, I think it's fantastic for all of us as fans to know that there's actually there's some life left in this race. And I think that, a little bit of stumble for City is a really good thing for all of us. I still think City's going to win the thing. You know, I might be a little bit of a closet Liverpool fan. I still think City's going to win it, but so much more fun knowing that this is actually a little bit in doubt and that there's a chance that things could turn out differently. And I'm happy that I had, you know, just one more time. You all told me this when I first got here, and I told you I was going to be a Spurs fan. You all tried to tell me to like just reconsider, Pat. We like you. Like you don't do this to yourself, right? And you told me what being Spursy was, and you said it's about the hope. The worst part is the hope, and it keeps on happening over and over again. And I'm in. Like I'm here for it. I'm signed up for forever of having like these highs and this hope and feeling like there might be a shot to get 7th place or whatever it is we're aspiring to, right? And then finding actually no, we're really kind of mid-table or even, you know, potentially a little bit worse. We have played so badly in some of these other games. It was terrific to watch and get excited and get that last, you know, the stoppage time goal from Kane was amazing. It was great. I was standing up and excited. And then I spent the next few days thinking, well, after we beat Burnley, and, you know, of course it didn't happen, but I'll stay in the moment for that one game. For that one game, it was one of the most exciting games we've seen in the Premier League this year. Yeah. I really enjoyed watching it. I really enjoyed the fact that, you know, Conte had a plan, and the plan was you're gonna get the ball into the middle of Kane and get an outlet and move. And watching them actually capitalize on a few of those runs and kind of counterattacking the whole way was amazing. You know, like you heard it after the game. I forget who the announcer was saying, you know, that they're not going to be okay playing this way against everybody else. Against the teams that are not as good, that's not going to be the right game plan for them to win. They've got to find a way to do this better. But yeah, staying with that game, it was fantastic. I love to see it.
Yeah, it's great. Something poetic about Kate, because it felt like, I think at the end, obviously City got the penalty, and you felt that they had so much momentum, and you just couldn't. It was hard to see that goal coming, and when it came, there was something just poetic about it. It was unbelievable. It was a unbelievable goal. But listen, what a game, Waleed. It's you know, I know you're a very pessimistic fan, so you obviously saw this coming in the tea leaves, as you always do. It's like City can be away to or home to like Crew Alexandra or somebody, or Rotherham, and you'd still be going, oh, it's a tough game. It's like, oh, it's tough.
Sorry for having a sense of, you know, humility, Ross. I mean, as a City fan, I'm quite I am probably the most pessimistic City.
You
fan,
are. You sense it
with reason, with good reason, because the thing is that, you know, Pep is stubborn. Pep, he learns, but he is stubborn at the time. He is reluctant to shake things up too much. He's done that once, maybe. Like the only time that I've really seen him shake up tactics at halftime, it was when we played Liverpool, and he changed from a 4-3-3 to a 4-4-2, and that changed the game, right? I've not seen him do that really at all in the past 5 years. Like he is very much, every single goal, Harry Kane was involved. Mark him out the game. Like, what is wrong? Why would you not? Like, you see that he's on some serious form. Like, first goal, maybe you can think it's a blip. Second goal, okay, he's on some serious fire and he's doing all the creativity. So why do you not just put someone on him, get Fernandinho, shithouse him a bit, and then just get him out of the game?
It's not Pep's style. It's not how Pep does it. Doesn't change.
It's not. And you know what? That's what we deserve. And fair play to Spurs for sticking to their game plan. We shouldn't have stuck to ours. Kane had a brilliant game. Absolutely. That first pass, which split the defenders to get to Son, that was magical. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
it was a brilliant pass. So credit there. But then I did predict that Spurs were going to lose the next game. So I do feel quite smug there.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Well, listen. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to come with the data. I got to, you know, like that. That's my role here, is to come with the data. When you say, you know, that you're a pessimistic City fan and kind of with good reason, I don't know. I look at the table and I see 23-3, and I'm trying to figure out what reason you have for being pessimistic. That's a ridiculous record. It's a crazy record, and yeah, they happen to stumble twice against a team that played over their head twice and deserved to lose both games. As much as I love my team, like they got outplayed both games and they found a way to win both of them. And sans those, they're 21-3, like ridiculous record. Ridiculous.
Pat, can I ask you a question? Who scored the penalty for City? What was that guy's name again? God, he's that guy. It's what's his name?
He's the guy who was padding his stats.
He's a liability. He's a complete liability. Liability Mahrez. That's the guy.
I'm not sure.
I even messaged both of you. I was like, I'd be much happier with us not drawing the game and him not scoring. Like, I'd be much happier with that. But lo and behold, I got the worst of both timelines. I've got him scoring and losing all the points.
I've just never
terrible day.
I just don't understand. I loved Luis Suarez when he played for Liverpool. He's a horrible man, but he scored goals, so I don't care. You don't care. You're just like, and Mahrez is not even he seems like a decent or pretty nondescript kind of guy anyway, But very irrational. So Willie, what are you thinking then? Pat feels that City will still win it. Pat, though, do you believe that Liverpool can do it? I sense you believe. I sense you. You're a sympathiser. You are. Waleed, what do you think? How are you feeling as the most pessimistic City fan on the planet? Is it all over? Have they blown it? How are you feeling about the title race now?
I do genuinely feel it could be like in 2011, I think it could be a final day thing, like based on goal difference. I have a horrible pit in my stomach which says that. Just because, Liverpool are going to come to the Etihad. If they win all of the games before that, they're going to have some serious confidence and momentum, more than City will. And if we lose that game, then Liverpool are winning on goal difference already. So we have to either pulverize our next set of opponents. We need maybe Liverpool to lose a game, and that'll take the edge off the return leg at the Etihad. I think that's where all eyes will be on. So it's both teams holding their nerve. I think that both teams will probably win all their games to get there. I'd be surprised if Liverpool dropped points, be surprised if City did. And then I can see Liverpool winning at the Etihad because they're on some seriously good form. So I can't call it.
I'll give you a view from a Liverpool fan side. So obviously just, the fact that we're even in the rate is I'm really happy with that. Not that I'm not aiming big. I think there was a really interesting stat about Klopp versus Pep's tenure. For every point that Pep's won, he spent 3 times the amount that Klopp has spent for every point. So I think it's 200,000 for Klopp and almost 700,000 for Pep per point. So the fact that if you think just about 3 times the amount of money, the fact that we're even competing the way we are is phenomenal, right? Phenomenal.
Your owner is an American billionaire. You're not poor.
No, but the point is, you imagine you give Klopp 3 times more money. Do you wonder where we could have been, right?
How many Divock Origis can you get with that money?
Listen, if you have more Divock Origis, then we'd be, we especially get 5 subs. But I would say, I actually feel the opposite. I think both teams might drop points before that fixture. But I just think with the amount of games, the amount of competitions they're in, I think the benefit just now is the Champions League ties, City are through already. Liverpool are almost through, right? It's not quite done, but it's close. They have a factor. But what I want to get to that City game. I know it's at the Etihad. I'd much rather it be at Anfield, where we're in a situation where the gap is the gap is as it is, or even narrower, and it just becomes it could be down to not just the one game, but you say that will be the advantage. I think that would be, as a showcase game, both teams are going to go for it. I think it just could be an all-time classic game potentially. So I'd love to get to that stage, and then it'll be who can see out the season. But I do think there's going to be some twists and turns of points dropped, as much as they've done it before where they've won all their games. I just have this sense that there's going to be a couple of surprise results in there. So let's see.
I think you're exactly right, Ross. I think there's going to be some chances for surprises. There's going to be some drop points, but the sweetest part of this whole end of the season is going to be this. If Liverpool can win this game at the Etihad and get themselves to a place where they're level, but they're behind in goal differential, there's really only one way for City to get themselves to the title. What is that way? Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, Riyad Mahrez.
Get in the basket. And that's what they'll need. They'll need a guy padding their stats. They'll need to be able to win not 1-0 because they had a tremendous number of passes, but 4-0. And why? Riyad Mahrez.
There you go. You heard it there first. Okay, well, let's switch gears now from the title race to, I think we can do 2 things here, right? So we're going to have to talk about Spurs, right? Okay, the emotional roller coaster that Pat, we did tell you, we warned you. I think it's coming to fruition. But I think we can also talk a little bit about the race for the top 4, which is, there's 3 exciting components to the league now: the genuine title race for the top 4, and then there's the battle to stay in the league, and then there's the kind of teams that are in the middle. There's not that many that are kind of good, not going to finish any higher or lower. But Spurs. So last 5 games, have failed to win in 4 of those games. Beat City though, right? Then go to Brighton. You know, like I don't know if you heard Conte's interview, right? This is the most Spursy thing that I think it could be up there with the most Spursy things ever. What's happened is form going into the City game hasn't been great. Okay, they were on a good bit of form before that. You're coming off the last podcast telling us we're going to smash Wolves and we're going to smash this, and we called it. We're like, I don't think that's going to happen. So, but you were confident, right? And then bit of a lull, get to the City game, massive elation. I mean, it's like, you know, their 3 point, you if you could get a point from that game, you'd take it before the game, right? At the Etihad. You beat them in dramatic style. Harry Kane looks like he's the guy again, right? Turns out he only wants to try hard when City are the opponent, so you can say, hey, come back and buy me again. But yeah, and then you go to Burton and you go to Burnley and lose at Burnley, which, you know, if I'm being honest, like wasn't a huge shock, right? It's not like that's not an easy place for teams to go. Conditions are, you know, it's a tough place to win. But then Conte has this like this I can only describe as a Spursy reaction, where for the City game, the narrative is best group of players I've ever worked with. Absolutely love it. Retracting what I said in the Italian media, I'm not speaking to anymore. I'm so happy. I love coming to work. They lose to Burnley, and then he's saying, I mean, probably you should fire me. I mean, pretty much I might not be the guy. Like, you know, I'm just like, Pat, talk me through that. What? I mean, Conte is renowned for being a bit fiery, but talk me through that in the space of a week. How do we get from here to like way down there? Like what's going on?
I mean, obviously he's a super emotional guy. You talk to the guy 5 minutes after the match, you're going to get whatever you watch the third goal when Kane scored the goal, he lost his mind over there on the sideline. And so what happened at the end of this game, he's upset and he lost his mind again. And like whatever he says after the game, I think is you have to listen to it, but you also have to expect it. I don't think there's anything that he would have said that would have necessarily surprised me. He could have thrown the whole team under the bus. He could have done what he did, which is throw himself under the bus a little bit. And like it's expected. He's a hyper emotional guy. And that's what, and you love to see it. Like I really would love watching him on the sideline. I love how into the game he is, and I think that brings some passion that's needed in that position. Unfortunately, we're just not that good right now, and I think like we're going to have moments. We're going to have like it might have been a different story if Kane's header right at the beginning of the second half doesn't hit the bar and goes in instead. You might have some sort of a different story we're telling, but it is what it is. They lost the game, and they are, as all teams are, they are what their record says they are. They are a mid-table team, and a goal differential that's right about level, or maybe even a little bit negative right now. That's who they are, and they may wire it together, and they may make some sort of a run, and who knows what'll happen. But I think that's what they are, and I don't know that that's what he expected when he came in. I do think that he probably felt like his coaching ability was going to get them further up the table, more quickly, but they've got some pretty glaring problems. And, I'm going to keep hoping they may turn around and kind of, win the next game, beat Leeds, and Leeds looks terrible right now. So they beat Leeds. Yeah. And then they have Everton after that at home, and they win that game too. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to come back and go, oh, they're in 7th again, and they've got 2 games in hand, and blah, 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 blah. And we'll see how it all goes, but nothing's going to surprise me, because I can really just see they've got some real struggle, some real kind of some talent gaps. I really wish they could have gotten Vlahovic in the transfer window, because that guy, I don't know if you saw
I did. I saw the goal last night. Mate, that's pipe dreams. Like, these guys don't go to Spurs. They don't go to Spurs. Come on, let's get real.
Yeah, ridiculous. 30 seconds into his career in the Champions League, bam, he's got a goal. Wrong foot, doesn't matter. Like, the guy's got lightning in his leg. We didn't find a way to get him, and that's frustrating. But I guess I got to let that go. But I'm, as a true Spurs fan, I can be mad about this for 115 years, and it's fine. Like, I'll keep talking about Vlahovic for forever. It's fine.
Are you still, Pat? And I'll come to you in a second, Willie, to get your reaction. And like, as a Spurs fan, you've seen that. Like, are you still like on the Conte bandwagon? Are you still like, yeah, he's a guy? I'm still on board, or are you starting to ask questions about, is this guy just a bit of a moron? Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, no. I still think he's far better than whatever else they might have coaching. I could have super vanilla, doesn't say anything new, no, if I wanted to. I like the spice. I like the fact that he's saying things that get everybody riled up. I like the fact that Waleed comes to work and tells me, "Ooh, it might be Conte's going to leave," and I have to like trying to get me to worry about it. I think it's fantastic. I hope we do some stuff to help him out in the summer. I hope that we're able to get some more talented players. We will or we won't. It'll happen however it does. This will play out, and if things work out really well, he'll stick around. And if they don't, it'll implode, and that's going to be fun to watch too. So all good. Yeah, I'm still on the Conte bandwagon.
Still on board. Okay, you heard it here, Spurs fans. Willie, what do you make of what do you make of this? Like, it's just bizarre behavior, isn't it?
It's typical Conte behavior to throw the toys out of the pram, but I've never seen it to this extent. Like, when he was like this at Inter, he wasn't this overt in his frustration. At Chelsea, he threw his toys out of the pram a little bit, but then Roman Abramovich is far more ruthless. Levy very much is in a tricky position because he's being baited out, but he can't afford to sack another manager this season with the payout that he's going to have to make, probably about 20 million or something. And then in addition to that, who do you get instead of Antonio Conte? He's a seasoned manager. Like, if you give him the tools, he will win, but he doesn't really do youth academy stuff. And that's kind of what Tottenham want. Like, they want to inspire the youth a bit more. But speaking of transfers, from what I could see in the City game, I don't feel like people who can put it in the back of the net is necessarily the issue for Spurs. I feel like it's creativity. Like, when you're relying on Harry Kane for the creativity, he's a brilliant player, passes it better than probably 90% of the City team as well. Like, incredible passes with both feet. But you want him at the front. You don't want him being the playmaker. So do you not feel like getting someone who is more creatively minded than someone who can put it in the back of the net should be a high priority?
Maybe, I don't know. The Conte thing, that what he said after it is like you say, even for Conte, like it's almost like Mourinho-esque like levels of being a bad loser. It's like, like it's as I don't know if you saw Mourinho got sent off again. It was brilliant. Again, things you love to see. We will come to that later. There are a few things that have happened that we'll have a section on that every week now. But yeah, no, Conte. I honestly, if I was a Spurs fan, I would be tweeting like what it feels like he's trying to get out. The sense of it was like he's trying to almost like be the sacrificial lamb. That's like, because he's almost, I don't, like you say, Pat, is it like he's realized what he's got into and he's like, I want out of it, it's too much work, it's too hard a job, or there's, I don't know, it just feels like something is really, really, really off. You cannot go from the narrative of best group of players I've ever worked with, happy going to work, love it, to maybe I'm the problem, maybe, and it's like, look, you lost away at Burnley, mate. Welcome to the Premier League. Like a lot of teams that'll happen to, because it's a horrible place to go, and they've got like a team of giants who are like, I mean, listen, it's an exaggeration. They do play some football, but they play in a certain way, and then their stadium, and it's we went there and barely scraped to win. It's a tough place to win. It's not easy. So, and they're fighting for their lives. So. And a lot of effort, on the City game. So I just don't understand why he would come after righting the wrong of like, I was misquoted in the Italian media and everything's amazing. To come out with this nonsense is just like, I would love to know what's going on in that guy's mind. It is just outrageous. But anyway, top four, we'll transition because we don't want to be too like, let's just talk about the teams we support, right? Because we know there are definitely you Arsenal fans that work with us. We know that you're the ones that are here straight away to pick holes and why you said that, right? So we've got Arsenal, Man United, kind of, unfortunately, things you don't love to see, kind of quietly being a bit basic and average, but kind of getting it done. Just quietly, West Ham are just quietly sliding away as people thought they might. Wolves won't go away. Big game tonight, Arsenal Wolves, massive game. All of a sudden, Arsenal are in that position that you were in last time we talked, Pat. Arsenal fans are looking at those games in hand going, here we go, because they could be right up Chelsea's arses if they won all their games in hand. But as we know, Arsenal, they won't Spursy it, but they are Arsenal and they have their own things that they manage to do. But what do we think about this top four race now? Are Spurs out of it? Are West Ham out of it? Do we think Man United are now favourites? How do we see it? What's the view in the top four?
Pat, go
on.
All
Pat.
Right. I'll say first off, for all of my friends here I work with who hate hearing me diss the Gunners all the time, I'll say that I think that's the team that's playing the best right now. That's the team that has the inside track on fourth is Arsenal. It's not just about the games in hand. They're actually playing very, very well. It's not what I'm rooting for. Of course, I'm going to be still cheering for Spurs to get there, but I think that the team that's kind of doing the best and playing the best game right now, which is pretty amazing to see. They lost their kind of their best scorer, and it doesn't matter. They're actually playing very well at the moment. Aubameyang is really terrific, but he's doing it somewhere else now. So I think that any of the teams that are in the top 9 actually could do it. I'd love to see Wolves get there. I don't think it's what's going to happen, but I would love to see it. I think it would be fantastic for the sport to see them get to Champions League football. And they do play some pretty incredible defense. I like watching them play. West Ham is falling down, and I don't think that's going to stop. I don't think they're magically going to turn things around. But nothing that happens with United or with Spurs or really with Wolves is going to surprise me much. Like, any of them could turn it on. But if I have to pick somebody right now, gun to my head, it's Arsenal.
Okay, well, Lee, what do you think? What's your view in the, for your view from above? Obviously, as being a City fan, right? So yeah.
So I think it'll probably be Arsenal that will go ahead and get top 4, but I really want it to be Wolves. I'm a closet Wolves fan. Honestly, I've been converted this season. At first, I thought that, if you think about what's happened to them, they had, Raul Jimenez out for a while. They had a pretty thin squad. They lost Dama Traore as well, and then they lost Jota, which was a huge loss for them as well. That was a lot of goals and energy that he brought into the team. Podence was on some form, but then he got injured for a while. Same with Neto. So they've been running on a pretty thin squad, and they've lost their manager that they've had for the previous 4 seasons or something ridiculous like that. So they came into the season with a lot going against them, and they have turned it around. They have arguably, they've got one of the best defenses. They've got such a great work rate. And the fact is that every single one of those players believes in the vision of the manager and the way that the manager wants to play. And I love that. I see them as underdogs compared to Arsenal, but Arsenal will probably win. But I would love to see Wolves there more. They're not the most glamorous teams, but they remind me of sort of like when Jose was here, like having that really, really difficult spine to try and break. And the defense was just always horrible to play against. Like that, it's reminiscent of that for me. If they had one more player who was creative that isn't João Moutinho, who's like 35 or something ridiculous, and if they had an out-and-out striker rather than Wang, who is a bit more of a centre forward, almost winger, I think they could do a lot of damage here. But that defense is irresistible.
They've been a great story. I think for me, it's a tough one to read, right? It's if you look at the data and the stats, Wolves don't score enough goals to finish 4th. That's their problem. Their goals for is significantly lower than anyone else around there. Arsenal do have the best balance of offense and basically Arsenal got the bet. Wolves have got slightly better defense than Arsenal, but Arsenal, their defense is they're scoring more goals, right, than Wolves. So I think you look at that. I think it's probably going to be Arsenal or Man United. It's whether United are just managing to eke out results. There's probably small incremental improvements. I just think they've got more firepower. They do have more. If I look at Arsenal's team, United have got a little bit more on the offensive side of the game, and I think it's going to be about they say that the defenses win championships, right? But this is not winning a championship. So I think Arsenal. My head says Arsenal, but there's something that I feel that United might just sneak in there. It's going to be an interesting run, and I would love to see Wolves if they can figure out a way to score just a few more goals. I think draws might end up killing Wolves, but also I just think Arsenal, Arteta. I think I've said this all season. I think that they're to your point with Spurs, their signings have been really it's what they've actually needed. He's gone with defensive-minded signings generally, right? And people, Benihana's going. It's well, that's not really Arsenal's problem. I think they've got a spine now in that team where they can start to build around. It's just whether, again, there's other things that will factor in. Again, European football, they don't have it. Man United do. So yeah, I'd say I do agree. I think Arsenal are the pick for 4th just now, but I just have this niggling feeling that United might just find a way. But I think that'll be a great tussle. Spurs, I would have said Spurs are in there and it'd be a 3-way tussle, but right now I have no idea what's going on with Spurs. And I couldn't even call where they're going to finish in the league. They could finish 4th, but they could finish 9th or 10th, right? It's crazy. And I guess West Ham, Antonio, like get him out your fantasy team, like get Antonio out your fantasy. It's like he is like, I don't know what's going on. And one team we haven't mentioned, I thought I'd mention, is like Chelsea. I'm just going to say, what have I been saying about Lukaku all season long?
7-touch Lukaku, is that who you're on about?
He touched 7 times. That's pretty good, right?
I've been saying it, Pat. I've asked the question of every striker, like, how much better is he than these other people? Like, I'm still asking the same question, and I think everyone's now starting to ask that question. Like there's some, like, he's just not. Yeah, there's a myth of Romelu, so I'm glad that is coming to fruition. And yeah. Anyway, there we go. So that's the top end of the table, right? So we've kind of sorted that out. We think Arsenal in pole position. By the way, watching Wolves Arsenal tonight, tough one at call. Is going to be a really good game. Probably not many goals in it. So, you know, the odd goal could win it. So that could be a telling, a big moment. If Arsenal win that, I think be challenging for Wolves. What about down the bottom of the table then? So my goodness, we've had, you know, Roy's come in at Watford. He's back in there. They've become super defensive, surprisingly, and boring. Newcastle are on a resurgence. Kieran Trippier, big injury, but they've been on. You know, they're looking like a collective team. They're not rushing the new signings in, which I think is a positive thing. So I think there's more improvement there. General consensus is they'll get out of it. Norwich and Watford, all of a sudden, Burnley are hit a bit of form. They signed, as I say, the Mountain from Game of Thrones, stuck him up front, and all of a sudden they're looking threatening. I would say a massive upgrade to Chris Wood, by the way. Like, what a bit of business for Burnley. Weghorst he's one I would say get in your fantasy team. I think they've got a double week as well, so like I would be saying get him in. He's very focal to everything they do. So Burnley all of a sudden are now in that, and you're looking at Everton and Leeds and Brentford and Aston Villa, by the way, all of a sudden you're looking not completely out the picture, unlikely to get totally drawn in, but you're starting to look now and going, I think it looks like Norwich and Watford are going to go down, and then it's like pick one of 5 or 6 teams that could finish third bottom, and I just, again, as much as I'd love to see Burnley go down, because I hate when we have to play them at their place, I've just got a feeling I think they might be okay. And I just don't know who's going to go down. Who else is going to get dragged in? Is it Everton? Is it Leeds? Is it Brentford? Who's going to be the one that's going to get dragged in, boys? What do we think?
I think it's Everton, but I also think it's fantastic to watch. It is amazing to watch, you know, Everton make those signings of people who you didn't really think were going to be all that great anyways, or at least I didn't. I mean, I didn't think Dele Alli was going to be kind of magically better when he got there, and obviously not. They're just an incredible struggle bus. Brentford started so good. I mean, they were amazing to watch for the first 3 weeks of the year. We thought, what a great story this is going to be. They're going to be singing "Hey Jude" in the stadium every single game. No, they can't score at all, I mean, it's even surprising to see that the Villa is struggling the way that they are. I know that. Yeah, I know that Waleed's probably frustrated that Southampton is not part of the conversation anymore. They're actually going to be probably in the top half the way things are going for them, right? But yeah, like there's a couple teams have just started to play poorly. Brighton has the butter slipped off the biscuit there for sure. No, not biscuits here. That's cookies for you. Anyways, it's not working out as well as it was before. Brentford looks absolutely terrible. Everton's poor, and I think Everton's going to be the one that actually falls down and ends up. Like everyone tells me, no, it's not possible. That team can't possibly get really good. I think they will.
Everton's next 3 fixtures: City at home, away to Tottenham, Wolves at home. That's their next 3 games. Right?
Easy 9 points there, right?
Listen, mate. You're looking at that going, wow. And I think Newcastle, Burnley, they all have like the teams around them, like even Leeds have on paper easier fixtures. They could be in a situation, and then the factor to me then comes, it's like, to me, it's going to be decisive, like pressure, right? If you get sucked in, do you start doing the wrong things? Do you start, I just think it's going to be so interesting to see. I mean, Leeds, I would hate to see them go down, but it's hard. I mean, obviously, Liverpool gave them a doing. They tend to get doings. It's not a surprise off the kind of those types of teams. Like, City have done them as well. Man United, the way they play. But my goodness, they've got to find a way, because they're looking porous at the moment. Like the amount of goals they're conceding, it's I'd hate to see them get dragged in, but and you almost think like Burnley as well. These teams, they've been there before, so you feel that's an advantage, right? For teams like Everton that haven't, it's like they haven't really been dragged into this properly. When you're in that, it's going to be interesting. Willie, what do you think? How do you read it? Do we think Norwich and Watford are gone, or do you think there's still some life with Roy or Dean? What do you think?
Oh no, I definitely think Norwich and Watford are getting relegated.
Okay.
But I think the interesting one, I think the reason that Leeds won't is because they actually do know how to find the back of the net. I just can't see it with Everton. They just can't seem to score. Like they just can't seem to either defend properly or score properly or anything like that. At least Brentford can be a bit stubborn in their defense. They can stop a bit and they can occasionally score, but Everton just don't really have anything going for them at the moment. I mean,
I'm. Are you predicting Everton then to go down?
I can't. So I think Newcastle will be fine. I think they will escape relegation. I think Leeds will be fine as well. They'll narrowly scrape relegation. Escape it. I think it's going to be either Everton or Burnley because
So
Burnley have got a lot to come
Everton
back from.
have a horrible run in. Like they play all the big teams. They have a horrible run in. I have a feeling though, like Brentford are one that just like I think their next three games, I think they've got like Newcastle, Norwich, and maybe Burnley. I think so they've got like three teams that are right there. If they don't win any of their next three games, Burnley are in Brentford, sorry, massive, massive trouble, which could happen. But on paper, the run-ins are looking at. I've seen Everton's running it is a stinking run-in, and everyone else has like a 3 or 4 game period where it looks like on paper it's like you should be able to get some points. I mean, Frank, inexperienced manager, massive gamble. It's crazy. And yeah, I know what you're saying about Burnley. I think Leeds will probably be okay. Burnley, I just think they're going to get out of it. But I hate to see it, but I think they'll get out of it. I think they've done some decent business. They've made an upgrade in their central striker position, and I think that could be the difference. Like those goals. If Calvert-Lewin doesn't start, like they don't find a way to get him going, they could be in big trouble. Dele Alli looks like the worst player that I've ever seen in my life. With the worst hair, just the worst. Maybe he cut his hair. I don't know. Maybe he does listen to the podcast. But just a couple of like Van der Beek I think is a decent signing, but Ali I knew as soon as I was like that's a shocking signing. That there's not enough games to get him back to where you need to get him to. Just a really I don't think that's a good signing. But yeah, let's Everton fans, are we worried? Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, so honestly, there were some things you love to see. Did you see that we don't really talk about women's football, which is, we probably should have, but for all the wrong reasons. My friend sent me the message of like, oh, look at this. And it was I thought it was a women's games. I think New Zealand international female football, I think she plays for Liverpool at club level, had scored a hat trick. And I was like, wow, it's a hat trick. Then I realized it's a hat trick of own goals. One with the left foot, one with the right foot, one with the head. So like a perfect hat trick was unbelievable. So again, she got subbed off. I mean, I saw the pictures of her getting taken off. Like just, I could not imagine how despondent you would be. Yeah, tough shift. So yeah, thoughts are out with her. And then don't know if you saw Neymar's penalty. Like, have you seen that? Absolutely love to see it. One of the worst penalties that I've ever seen in my entire life. I was just so happy. That was amazing. Yeah, because Neymar just not my cup of tea.
Terrible guy.
Yeah, but what fantasy? And we've got 5 minutes left, probably, right? So we said Antonio out. Like, what's our tips for fantasy football then? I think this is you're coming into the for a lot of people now, it's like a lot of you're either in the mix to win your league or not. But there was like, I don't know who else triple captain Salah this week. This guy did. Waleed did. I know anyone that knew anything about anything did it. So yeah, that was a nice. 130 point week is nice. But what do we think now? Because I think now you're going to start to say people, you're going to make bets now, and you're probably not going to make that many more changes unless you're doing wild cards and stuff like that. You've got them up your sleeve. Any top tips? Dallo, I don't know, is he even getting a game now? Yeah, go on, Willie.
He's still starting.
Not mate. He started Lindelof last night, mate, a right back, and Wan-Bissaka the game before, mate. So come on, you got called out in that shocking stuff from Littlefinger strikes again. Just trying to sabotage everyone from inside. Don't trust that guy. Terrible guy. So go on, Willie, blow our mind with your latest fantasy football tip. Let's do it.
So someone that I just transferred in, and then someone that I'm kind of taking a look at. I just transferred in Bukayo Saka. He's 6.5 million, not that much, but for a guy who's going to play consistently, and also for a team that is vying for the 4th spot, they're going to be playing out their skin. So I reckon he's a pretty good choice. Now, one that I'm kind of looking at, whose points have devalued quite a lot, but I think might get a bit more game time now that Lukaku's playing awful, is Kai Havertz. If he plays as a striker, the man can net it.
Yes.
as we unfortunately saw at the Champions League final. So I'm keeping an eye on him. And last one is potentially swapping Son for Kulusevski. He's getting a lot of game time, and he sets him up, and he can finish. And
Okay.
he's a lot cheaper.
It's true. Pat, what about you? Any top tips, or even people you say get rid of? Come on, give us what's your thoughts here. Chilwell's still injured, Pat. Just so you know, you can't pick Chilwell. He's out. Right.
I was trying to say something about him the whole time when you were talking about
Oh,
Lukaku.
you love it. You love Chilwell.
I do think that because City has Everton coming up next week, I do think that not just to give it to Waleed, but I think Riyad Mahrez is somebody you want. I think Rodri might be somebody you want as well. Both of them are people who you might want, on the team. I think people who are not, who have been disappointing, who have been trying to decide to ship off. I think Pookie for they're playing
Norwich.
Southampton this week. Norwich, that's right.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
playing Southampton. I think it might look good. Might look good to you if you're kind of needing a forward, but he's really been struggling. There's not much production there at all. So I'm not sure about him. And I'm going to keep on riding the Wolves defense. I'm going to stay with Saw. I'm going to stay with the defenders and just keep on hoping that I get a chance at a clean sheet and get 6 from all of them. Just keep on riding them out.
Good. Well, okay. Good. Yeah, I think fairly solid tips. I'm not sure if you say Rodri. I think that might not be the best tip, but anyway, I'll challenge you on that one. Yeah. Okay. And then Waleed, yeah, your ones are not as outrageous as normal, so I'm not gonna like dig you out in these ones. I would say, as I say, get Antonio out. Striker positions again, just been such a bizarre year. Kane's the only one that I think you could consider going all in on. It's just like Spurs have a double week coming up, I think, or they got a good fixture. I can't remember, one or the other. So I would say, I think you pick Kane or Son like there. I think, or you go City. Like that's the other one. That's where I'm dithering on. So I think it's like I'm thinking Sterling or Son. I feel like Kane only wants to score when it's like he's in the shop window. So, but I feel like Son is involved in most good things they do. But it's whether you pick that, because I do think they've got a double week. I think they do, or like I feel like Sterling is the one that seems to be Like the problem with Pep is I did look at Mahrez because he's cheaper, but Mahrez is more in and out. Sterling seems to be at the moment the one that he likes and is playing more. And because the only issue with City players is when the Champions League gets serious, when they start playing proper teams that are actually at the same level as them, that's where you're going to see rotation come in. For the Premier League, that's where you're going to have to be careful. And you're trying to predict Pep's mind, which is, it's tough. I would say Weghorst, get him in. Burnley have got a double week coming up, fighting for their lives. Everything goes through him. Get the big man in. I would also, a bit of a curveball here. This is just going to really just a noise up Littlefinger here. I would pick, I think they have a double week coming up and their fixtures are favourable. Southampton, Broja, the boy up that's on loan from Chelsea.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's cheap. He's cheap. Again, so I'm going Dennis, Broja, and I'm going to go Weghorst as my front three. I'm going to ride those out because I don't think there's enough value, even with Kane at the price he's at. Like these guys are less than half the price of Kane, and I feel like there's enough there. I'm loading up in midfield. I mean, you've got the Bowen train. Even though West Ham aren't producing, he keeps producing. Hard to argue getting off of that. I am going to go Sterling over Son. That was a bit of a decision. I know Liverpool have a game this week. Keep Salah to the end of the season. It's just a no-brainer. You're mental if you don't. Yeah, and then I would say, folks, if you have the free hit, that's going to be there's a couple of weeks where there's only 2 more double weeks. So have a look at those double weeks. Could be a chance to use your free hit. But yeah, they would be my top tips. I think I would say that's what I'd say in the front line. I think the midfield is relatively obvious now. Rafinha, Bowen, Saka, Salah. You can go De Bruyne if you want it. He's the other one that I'd say is pretty sure to start most games, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to predict going in. But that's what I would say. Looking at the fixtures, and then Villa's the only other one. They have a decent run, but not scoring goals at the moment. So Wolves actually, by the way, have a double week, some good fixtures. My issue though was I was going to go Jimenez, right, or thinking Huang, Jimenez, but they're not scoring enough goals. So I think you're right, Pat. I would go Sa and a defender, and I think that could be the play there because you're gonna get some points there, and I think their games are generally low scoring. But yeah, I think picking a striker like Jimenez, I'm not sure you're going to get the output.
Gilman, Sa, the defense is where you want to put the your concentration for Wolves for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's strange. I mean, I feel like it's been a bit disappointing in this podcast. Like, Littlefinger hasn't said anything outrageously controversial. You've been really good value the last few weeks, Waleed. I feel like really good value. Like for your you've been like the antagonist, like the Chris Sutton or the that kind of.
No. I will leave this podcast. If you call me Chris Sutton, I can take Littlefinger. That's absolutely fine. But Chris Sutton, don't you tell me with that?
Well, it's like a shite Chris Sutton. It's not even Chris Sutton. Right?
I felt bad for how bad we were both hammering him through the last couple of pods. So I came after you this time, Ross, and I kind of left Waleed alone a little bit.
Pat, I just talk my way out of trouble anytime. I just start talking, and
it's all right. It's all right. The second Liverpool drop points, I am gonna have a 15-minute segment just for that, and it's gonna be glorious.
Well, we'll see. We will see. Listen. I'll take it. I give it out, so I'll take it. I have to be that way. So what? Listen. Let's wrap up with this, boys. Let's wrap up with this. So, reflecting back on the last podcast that we had, right? And Pat, your mood there from then to now, very interesting. My mood. We're gonna talk again in a couple of weeks' time. What do we think? What do we think our big talking points are going to be then? Let's try and look to the future a little bit. What are we predicting coming over the next couple of weeks? Waleed, you're brewing something in that devious mind of yours.
I think we're going to see Chelsea dropping a lot of points, and I think that they're going to get close to being fourth rather than third.
Wow. Okay, there you go. Pat, what do you think? What do you think?
I think every time you think you got Spurs figured out, then you don't. And so what I think is you're going to see a run of 3 or 4 games that they win.
Okay, so you think we're talking about you'll be all happy clappy again, and Conte's okay.
One more time I'm going to be thinking about we've got some games in hand and we might get to fourth, and then I'll have my hopes dashed again.
Okay, I think we'll be talking about Everton in crisis. That's my prediction. Like Everton in super crisis mode, and I think we could be the bat signal could be shone up to Sam Allardyce, I think, and lamps could be out. That could be Sam. Or maybe Sam Allardyce with Tony Pulis as his assistant, right? And just be like, right, it's like if you get those two guys in together, you cannot get relegated. Like it's mathematically impossible. I think, they might even pinch Sean Dyche from Burnley and just say we just hire him so they go, I don't know, it will be Everton fans will be in meltdown if there's a realistic chance they could get relegated, because what's the one thing that they're super proud of? They've never been relegated from the Premier League. Well, could this year be the year? My goodness. Let's see. So I think we could be talking about more problems at Everton based on their fixtures. But let's see what happens. Okay, well, chaps, always a pleasure. Always fun.
Cheer up, Ross. Please cheer up.
I'll try. I know it's tough. It's really hard, mate. It is tough. And hopefully, I mean, the only way we're going to get an in-person podcast is if Liverpool's form dips a bit, where Waleed feels good enough to feel like I could be in the same room as him, and so we'll see what happens. See what happens there. We'll hopefully be in person soon. Okay, right. Have a good rest of your day, boys. Thanks to everyone for listening, and cheers.
Cheers.